My name is Kristofer Dan-Bergman. I'm from Sweden originally. Today I'm going to show you 3 personal series that I've been working on. One that is finished and 2 that is one that is also basically half finished and one that is ongoing. They are documentaries. The first one is portraits, so that is a controlled environment. The 2 other ones are not a controlled environment. So we're going to start in Africa. This was a series I did together with an NGO called Spark Microgrants that I had run into, that I really liked what they were doing. They were working in Eastern Africa, in Rwanda, Burundi, and Uganda. And they helped villages there to regain their confidence. Basically meaning that they trained them to start working the agriculture or building their own fence. They didn't hand them money. They had a little bit of money to lend to each project they wanted to. And I thought this was a great way of doing it, because this is an area that have been plagued with war, genocide, and all kinds of stuff for a very long time. And I made a deal with them to document what they were doing in these villages in still photography and in video. But I told them that I want to do my own project, and that is what you're going to see here now, which was portraits of some of the village people. There were 12 villages that we went to throughout this time, and I was there for a month, and I was very ambitious in terms of my portraiture, what I had in terms of equipment, but I didn't have any assistant or anything like that, so it was I had 2 big camera backpacks carrying up and down the hills, and we didn't stay in any hotels or anything like that, so it was like we only had 1 break in between, but the rest was just out in the countryside. So, closer? Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry. I have the names and everything of the villages, but we'll see here. So anyway, so what I did have in terms of equipment, I had 2 lights with me, portable lights, and I had to be very quick. Right when I got up to the village, I had to decide exactly where I'm going to shoot and then just bang it out, basically. So I didn't have time to, that we do maybe here in the studio or whatever you have time to do. It was just banging it out because my main job was to document what they were doing there. So, this is a mix now between all the countries, and I have a list here for the name of the villages and the countries too, but it's going to take too long time for me to read here and figure it out where we are right now. But it was wonderful. They were wonderful, the people. I mean, some definitely were. There was a lot of sadness there, without any doubt. But there were also happiness. I mean, there were a lot of happiness too. So it was a mixed kind of feeling. Also depending on the village, you could really feel it right away where this village was.
How did you get the people to come to that spot?
Well, since I traveled with the NGO, and we were usually me and maybe 2 other people. We traveled first by car, and then we had to walk up the hills, and the roads were just dirt roads. So it was.
Speak English, or you had a translator?
Well, the NGO. I mean, since I was with the NGO, it's an American or a New York organization, so I spoke to them. I didn't speak directly to them. No.
Were they aware that you were doing an artistic project besides the other thing?
I don't think they were introduced to whatever because the NGO told me, because I said, just bring in the people from the village, and since they really liked the organization, they just basically did what they were told to do, or I mean, there wasn't any problems. But I didn't call in the people. I didn't pick out. I didn't have a casting, so to speak. It was just anybody who came up. I just put it up, and that's how it worked. You can throw me questions. Did you? No?
I have a question. I'm just curious. Did you spend the same amount of time generally with each person, or did you have longer with some and less with others?
Well, what's that?
Repeat the question.
Oh, right. Sorry. Did I spend the same amount of time with each person? No, obviously not, because this was, some people I did. I didn't really think, I just needed to know that I had to shoot it. So honestly, I have no idea.
No, but they have such a great, obviously, like she's smiling, and the other photograph, there was a rapport. So I guess what we're sort of getting at is how did you create that rapport? I don't know how many shots you
Well,
shot.
no, I basically maybe took 4 or 5 shots of each person. That was.
Okay, that's what I was trying to get
Yeah.
a sense of.
Oh,
If you
okay,
had
yeah.
time or no time, or you were just trying to get, like when you were there, let me just,
No, because what I wanted them. I didn't want me to interfere too much with them. I mean, I wanted them to be them in front of the camera, so to speak.
That's quite amazing that it pulled up.
Yeah, and this one actually has a little story, because when we were climbing up the hill for the village, she was actually way up there. It was, and I actually have a picture of it, walking like this with the bag on her head.
that's really crazy.
And I thought, I hope she will get in front of the camera, but I didn't want to pick that. She came in front of the camera. I shot like 2 or 3 shots, and she didn't have the bag. And then she said, went like that and ran to get the bag and put it on her head. And I was like, wow. And I didn't want to ask her to do that, but she did it herself.
That's incredible. And you're using flash here.
I have two Lumidynes, portable Lumidynes, and it was very hard. So it was bare bulb, because the light is so strong there. So it was like, I had umbrellas with me, but you couldn't use them.
I had a question about the lighting in the sense that you're using, the ratios there's no sort of brighter on one side, dark on the other. Is there a reason for that? Like from an aesthetic standpoint, that's the thought. Did you make that decision that you wanted this kind of like even light on both sides with the two lights?
Well, it's not really. It's just because the sun is there. I mean, and you probably see there are some of them. I mean, my light couldn't overpower the sun. So, I mean, part of this, to be honest with you, is done in post-production. I mean, I darkened the background. So the background is I probably took down in processing 1 stop compared to the foreground for it to pop out better,
Do you know her story?
Nope. I have information about the villages and etc., but I don't have it with me right now.
What is the information about the village like?
What's that?
What is the information like? What are they facing? Like, what's the main story?
What is the major stories about these villages? Well, like I said from the beginning, I mean, these are villages basically that has, well, they're kind of depressed in a way, because they can't take on to do anything. Not even, maybe empty a bucket of water, so it's kind of on that stage. So this is what this organization is doing, is to helping them get out of this and give them confidence back again, that they can change their future, they can change their day-to-day routines, and they can make things happen. And they're succeeding very well. I mean, it's
Charity water? What organization is it?
it's called Spark Microgrants.
I see. So they create economic micrograms for the people.
Well, I mean, they don't really, because the basic thing is to train the people to do something. They have money, but I think it's up to like $1,000 per village. I don't know what the time period is there, but that's basically it. It's not like they're handing them money you know, but they can get a cow for that, or they can get a goat, or some fence, you know. That is what they have to use. They don't just get the money, they have to have something.
Empowerment of village.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the country?
This is Burundi, I think. Yeah, I have the list here, but. And these pictures actually were exhibited at Fotografiska. I don't know if you heard about Fotografiska, but in Stockholm. Now, somebody here said it looked like painting, and yes, it's part of my post-production way of dealing with my pictures. Just to make it, but this is kind of interesting, which I mean. I kind of just went with what happened at the time as I was shooting because I couldn't control it. And then I realized that it's so, because the kids wanted to be in there, you know, all the time. And the first time that happened, my first reaction was, they should go away, you know. And then I said, no, it works so well. And this was so great. And they were like 2 and then 3 and then there were 20 kids, you know. And, I mean, it's amazing. Not, I mean, I don't know if they are related to her per se, but they're, I mean, this is all that same village, you know. And the villages are not very big.
Did she sit like that and pose like that, or did you?
Yeah, no, I just asked them to, in this case, probably just sit down here because I like the location, you know, that I just decided this is a nice spot. I mean, the countries, especially Uganda, was very different from that. Who knows? Probably not. No, I think the one to the left is the youngest one, and then it goes to the eldest one. I think.
No, you're right. I think you're right. Moms now.
But it's an incredible photo.
So here you see the lights and a little bit of the shadow in the face. Whoever asked me that, yeah.
So Chris, you do
Yeah.
a project like this, does it change you?
Of course. I mean,
tell us
I'm not really a documentary photographer, but I love doing it. I've been in Africa 3 times. I've been in with the Karen people in bang, boom,
Thailand.
over there. Yeah, Burma it was at the time. Yeah, and so I've done a few, and I really like it because it really makes me grow. I can't do it all the time because obviously, you know, I don't make any money on it. It's costing a lot of money usually, but it's an incredible way. When I find something that speaks to me, then I try to get it. Like in this case, when I found this, because I found this organization because I was helping out another organization called Global Good Fund, which is actually helping NGOs, smaller NGOs with training in terms of organization, in terms of fundraising, in terms of, but to train them to know this. And that's how I got involved with this organization.
What kind of camera did you say you were using?
What's that?
What kind of camera did you say?
Oh, it was a Canon 5D3. Mark III. Whoops. So this we were obviously high up, and it was, yeah, no, it was.
What made you decide to use flash?
I decided that from the beginning because I wanted it to be a little bit different than what you normally see as documentary things out in the countryside, and I was working with. Trying to figure out how can I do this and carry all this equipment myself. And the most amazing thing, I mean, well, I shouldn't say the most amazing thing, but I didn't lose one little thing, not even a cap. And I was so amazed because, I mean, I lose my glasses in 5 minutes here, right? So no, I was super focused to get this project, you know, to work. And this is the last from from this presentation in this series. I have tons of more, you know, from this whole series. But this man was beautiful. I think it actually was like the third or fourth portraits I shot on the trip. But he was just, wow, say no more.
Have you been back there?
No.
Have they ever seen these photographs?
I don't know if the NGO showed it to them. They probably did somehow, you know. I don't know.
They're gorgeous.
Thank you. So, from Africa to Lower East Side. So this series happened by accident, so to speak. I mean, this is outside the old Essex market. And I've always been fascinated by people walking past walls. But, you know, just for myself, it's like where are they going, what is in the mind, and what's happening, you know, when they're walking past there. And when I moved to the Lower East Side, which is like, I think about 10, 12 years ago. 5 years? Okay. Well, we have to cut. So I photographed this wall, the same wall, for 3 years, and it's coming down now. And after a while, I realized what I was doing. I was actually documenting the big change, because I realized that within 5-10 minutes, I have 5-10 great characters that I photographed, and I'm basically just 2-3 yards away from them when I photograph them.
Are you using artificial light
No, no.
here, or it's just?
It's just, I have a camera that you connect to the iPhone, and I'm just standing like that, and I always waited at one time that somebody was going to hit me or do something, you know, but nobody did. Nobody even came up and talked to me. And you learn a lot about the people in a way. I mean, here, I mean, I realized that in the Chinese community, umbrella is a very big fashion there, you know.
Are all of these shot on the same photo session, or is this no?
3 years, 3 years.
Because the reason I'm asking is because the light on the back is very consistent, so I wondered if that's something that you work on.
No, I mean, I have thousands of these pictures. I just picked these now quickly, you know. For whatever reason, you know, it's not that easy. But
Are you at the same time in the morning or after?
no, it could be whenever I wanted my coffee. Because I went there to get my coffee, and that could be, you know, 8 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon.
So do you ever collage them all together? Do you have one big photo where you collaged it all?
No, but I can do it. Do you want to see that? I'll do it for you.
Yes.
But look at the clothing. I mean, and here, and look at the bag. I love the bag, little bag hanging there. And now the last series, which is also documentary. It's started to happen when they started the ferries out to Rockaway. And I call it Raging Mother. And I happen to have, closer. It happened to, you know, when they started the ferries out to, which was like 2.5 years ago, something like that. And I happened to have a camera, actually the same camera I was shooting the wall with a water housing. So I thought, okay, let's try it. So I went in the water and started shooting. And I'm a former sailor and I sailed oceans and raced, and I always felt the best in the middle of it in a storm. And I realized that when I did that, was in the water, I reconnected with it again. And so it became personal, and then I continued doing it. And then I was like, this is interesting. So it's still very much in its development, and I don't know what directly kind of I'm looking for in there, but it's definitely the connection between the sky and the water, and so it has that thing in it, but then also the raging part also becomes part of where we are today with everything, how we are treating our earth, you know. It could be interpreted that, but that's not how it started. No, it's all in my post-production.
Okay.
These might not be so consistent because it's, you know, I'm still playing around with it. And it's not necessarily bigger. I have an app for waves, which is a surf app, and I realized that the ultimate for me to be able to go in the water is 3.5 feet. So it's not like the huge, because then I can't really go in the water. And in the beginning, the first year, I was almost swept away several times. So then I decided I should get a life vest. So I have a life vest now and a name tag in case, I get pulled out, This is 108th Street. From the ferry, I just walk straight out. And
Can I ask you a question? What is that line? Did you paint that?
no. I haven't. The only thing I've done is a post-production, just the feeling of the whole thing, and not moved around anything.
Okay, but when you look at it, are you looking at it from the shore or you?
No, I'm probably somehow in the water here, but
That's the waves. Those are the waves.
yeah, and this is a rockaway.
Is it fixed lens? Meaning one.
Yeah. It's a fixed lens. Fixed lens.
So you have to get
I don't like zooms because then it's too many options.
time on whatever you're got to be pretty close to get that wave, no?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Chris, when you say Rockaway, you're talking Brooklyn and Queens.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's when I took the ferry out the first time, I was like, wow, this is like, it takes an hour out there, and you go away from Manhattan, you're on the water, you pass by Statue of Liberty, under Verrazano Bridge, you wave to Coney Island, and you sit on the deck, and then you get off, you walk over to the beach. And then you spend an hour on the beach. Basically, I spend an hour in the water, but in the beginning, I was just spending an hour on the beach.
Take the A train.
Yeah, oh, wow, that's lovely. No, and then it takes an hour back. And I said, wow, 3 hours a round trip and time out from Manhattan. It's a little bit of meditation and cost you what, $5.50 a round trip?
The image is so dramatic that it's almost like I'm sort of surprised you're alive. Like there's just this look to them.
No, but,
it's very, it just looks like you were then submerged by this wave.
Well, when I'm doing it, I am so into it. So it's kind of dangerous in a way, and there's absolutely nobody around because I only go out in bad weather, so there's absolutely nobody around.
And I'm sorry, maybe you already mentioned this, but is your housing waterproof? Your
Yeah. I have a waterproof housing.
Yeah, I was going to say, because
So, but it's interesting how it develops, here with the sky and the water, the patterns, and it's like kind of melts together.
Just as a point of reference, this is 2 minutes away from Coney Island.
Right.
To bring Stephanie's work
Yeah.
to be connected
Yeah,
to that.
exactly. I mean, and I find it so amazing because it's the same beach, same spot every time, but every time you go out, it's a different monster. I mean, it's a different character, a different soul. Everything is different.
These are digital, right?
Yeah.
I like how you have this sort of bluish tint in them. It's not quite black and white. There's a little bit of color in them.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Nice subtle thing that you have.
They look bigger than they are, honestly.
This is like the end of the world is about. Oh my God.
So do you have a wetsuit on, I guess?
No, not yet, but I'm going to buy one now because it's if I'm going to doing it now, which I haven't done, if I'm going to go in the water, which I have to do because I've shot it from the beach too. It's not the same. You don't get into it. You don't get the same feeling, and you don't get the connection that you need. So I don't get the satisfaction out of it. Besides, also the angle. When you sit on the beach, the angle is higher. When you're in there, you're much lower. That's it.